A very retro racing report today from Pismo Beach, California, August 1931. These are land speed attempts, record attempts on the beach at Pismo, 1931. There are some couple of long articles involved here, some interesting imagery. If you stick with it all the way to the end, hey, chapeau to you, buddy. All right, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me out. Here we go. Pismo Sands, scene of time's conquest. Story by John Shannon, president of Pismo Beach Oceanside Speedway and Racing Corporation. Making its inaugural stand in the spotlight of the automobile speed world, Pismo Beach, California is today receiving its baptism of speed. Speed and more speed. For many months, in fact the time may have slipped into more than a year, racing experts, engineers, and drivers have inspected the sandy beach, and many and varied have been the opinions rendered as to the speed possibilities of the shoreline of San Luis Obispo County. The wave-swept sands of Pismo have been acclaimed by many as a lightning-fast and most perfect land speed course, and it's been predicted that the maximum speed possible of development by the modern-day racing car can be attained and sustained. Truly a gift from the gods, the concrete-like sand straightaway stretches for several miles in an uninterrupted course, the scene of wide-open attacks on existing world records today. That all discussions might be allayed for all times, Pismo's leading citizens and businessmen banded together and at great expense have made possible today's program of speed trials. The very best in cars and drivers have been induced to appear here this afternoon to prove to the world the possibilities of speed on the local sands. Up to the present time, it has been impossible to hazard any guess as to just how great a speed might be developed, but it is to be hoped that the speed recorded today by the electrical timing devices under the supervision of the American Automobile Association will compare favorably with speed attained on any other speed straightaway in the world. It is the purpose of those vitally interested in the development of Pismo Beach and San Luis Obispo County to make the World Speed Trials an annual event. World's greatest drivers entered here today. Leading the Pacific Southwest Championship for the present year is Ernie Triplett, the lanky youth driving car number 6, who is one of the favorites today with the followers of the speed game. Ernie started his racing career on the Pacific Coast about 5 years ago and is today rated as one of the best in the country. For the last 3 seasons, he has campaigned on eastern tracks during the summer months with great success, and is now well known to Eastern fans as he is to friends on the coast. Today, he is driving a car which has 4-cylinder creation of 210 cubic inch displacement, and Ernie has driven it to many victories during the last year on practically every well-known track in the United States. Francis Quinn, who today will drive his new 4-cylinder Miller motor car for the first time, is one of the hardest driving pilots ever seen in American racing. He won the 1930 Pacific Southwest Championship and is therefore entitled to carry the coveted number 1 on the cowl of his car. Quinn was beset with a great deal of hard luck at the beginning of the present year and fell far behind in points, while his more fortunate rivals were busy winning the races. In the last few months, he has again hit his stride and has been piling up victory after victory, thereby raising his standing until he is now the 4th-ranking driver on the coast. Stubby Stubblefield is another California boy who is rapidly coming to be recognized as one of the most promising drivers developed in recent years. Stubby also placed in the 500-mile grind in Indianapolis this year, finishing in 8th place, just a short distance behind Ernie Triplett. Stubby's car is also a new one, having been entered in only 2 races since being built. It is a marvelous piece of machinery built by the Krager Company in Los Angeles. They are manufacturers of racing cars and equipment, therefore the name Krager Special. He is the 3rd-ranking driver in Pacific Southwest standings, and along with Chester Gardner, who rates 2nd, has a good chance of still giving Ernie Triplett a race for the 1931 crown. History of Speed Trials, 1903 to 1931. The history of speed trials dates from the dawn of the automobile era. Men who were building the world's first cars by hand, and along with their own creative ideas, turned to this spectacular sport in an effort to attract public attention and the attendant advertising. One of the pioneers of the automotive business who first established an official record was Alexander Winton, who with his Winton Bullet in February 1903 turned in the unheard-of time of 68.96 miles per hour. The following year, this record, along with 6 others, was broken by William K. Vanderbilt, a millionaire sportsman who did much to advance the game. It was about this time that the famous Barney Oldfield entered the racing world, along with Walter Christie, builder of the first front drive. Records of the Vanderbilt year went flying in 1905. Arthur MacDonald, the first English racer to invade American racing circles, brought over a Napier with which he set new records, only to be broken a short time later by H.L. Bowden of Boston with a twin-engine Mercedes. Among the men who were racing just for the sport of it were Alfred G. Vanderbilt, H.W. Fletcher, Rollin H. White of the White Sewing Machine Company, and later the Rollin car. In 1906, for the first time, a speed of more than 2 miles a minute was accomplished, first by Fred H. Marriott, and later by the French mechanic Limoges. The following year, Marriott nearly lost his life while attempting to lower the record in the Stanley steamer, which blew up during the run. By 1910, such famous racing drivers as Ralph De Palma, Bob Berman, Louis Strang, Barney Oldfield, and David Bruce Brown were attracting the public eye, and racing had passed out of the amateur class to one of professional pilots. Oldfield and Berman again set new records with the powerful bends in 1911. Oldfield's only record was for the mile from a standing start, but Berman added 10 miles an hour to the fastest time of the year before. Interest in speed trials waned about this time and was renewed in 1919 by Ralph De Palma when he brought out his streamlined Packard, powered with an aviation motor which had been the forerunner of the famous Liberty engines, and set new records for all distances from 1 kilometer to 20 miles. 2 of his records, 1 mile from a standing start and 10 miles from a flying start, still stand as American records today. In 1920, Fred Duesenberg, famous racing car engineer, built a twin-engine car with which Tommy Milton broke all records up to 5 miles. As he finished his most famous run, Milton's car burst into flames, but was saved from serious damage. Milton was accompanied by Harry Hartz and Jimmy Murphy as mechanics. Both of these men later became 2 of the most outstanding drivers of all time. From that date on, the American motor industry turned its attention to the expansion of the industry from a production and sales standpoint. But in Europe, where the sporting phase of it was more developed, competition continued in an even keener way, and European records continued to climb upward until the 1926 Milton's record was again broken by Perry Thomas, the Englishman. The only record attempts since that time have been made, for the most part, by English drivers such as Seagrave, Campbell, Thomas, and Kay Don, while America has been represented by Lockhart and Keach. Of this last mentioned group, only Campbell and Don remain, the others having lost their lives in the sport that was their life. The cars driven by these men were enormous machines weighing thousands of pounds and equipped with airplane engines, very much unlike our modern, low, sleek, highly specialized racing cars such as we have here today.